Hey, it's MK and I am back scrapping on a ship, and today I am inspired by Helen Ding. She is Scrappin' with Helen here on YouTube as well as on Instagram, and actually I think she's Helen Ding here on YouTube. I'll have to double check that, but her links will be down below. So I'm just sharing with you guys my screenshot of the phone yet again, and then a couple elements that I pulled out to play along. So I've got two Dusty Attic elements. The first one I'm going to use the bubbles, and then the second one was just the netting. I don't plan on using anything else in the chipboard set. And then I've got out a bunch of my wax seals. So I've got a rectangle one, and these ones, the first ones that I'm sharing with you guys are more travel themed with postage card or stamps, compass roses and things like that. And then the next one are more tropical theme with the octopi and the seahorse and the shell. And then I wanted to try putting my own little discs inside wax to make them look like a wax seal. So I've got a couple etched images from Dusty Attic, and then I've got one of my wood rounds from the beach token little set that I created. Now I've got my candle going over here, and I've got this wax warmer. And then for my, of course, I'm gonna knock it all over. For my waxes, you have to have more wax than you do on the side. And so I guess at how much wax. So I've got 5 little wax beads inside one. And then for my other smaller rounds, my stems, I guess, I've got 2. And then for my regular ones, I've always just done 3 on my regular circles and whatnot. And so I also pulled out some really fun colors for my tropical theme. So I've got, like I said, a shell, a seahorse, and then an octopi. So I thought I would do some fun colors there. But for my travel theme, I'm going to keep it just yellow and get it started. So the first one I'm going to start with is the rectangle. And I do cut this out quite a bit because there's a lot of waiting time waiting for the wax to melt. And the first candle that I decided to use, the wick was not tall enough, and so the candle wouldn't stay lit. And I went off doing my own thing, which was taking apart all of these Dusty Attic things to realize that it just was not working. So here where you see it did not melt enough. So I mean, it was cold. I could pick it up right away, and it just was not a good impression or anything. But one of the things that you have to keep in mind is when you're pouring out your wax, you want to pour in a shape that your wax is. So mine is a rectangle. So I will be pouring it out into a rectangle and then pushing it down, and here it goes. Now, because I've got all those bubbles around it, I did heat the wax too hot. I am one of those that I can't just stand there and stare and wait for paint to dry. I have to keep going. So I stepped away from my wax and got busy doing something else, and didn't realize that my wax was melted. So it's not as melted as what you will see when it is really burnt. Trust me, I walk away from that one too. But for this one, I did not want it to look like a wax seal, so I am going to cut off the extras. Not a big deal, because you can always remelt them and create something else or another seal. Now for this one, I didn't quite put it in the center. And you do have to wait a hot minute when it is, good temperature and whatnot. You do have to wait a hot minute for your wax. And I did not, wait a minute before taking your seal off. And for this particular one, the compass rose, not the one that I burned, for the compass rose, it is offset, but I kind of like it. I really do. So for this one, as you can see, the color is a different color. That's where I burned my wax, and I tried to cool it down. I tried to get it, but once it is burned, it is that color. It's not going to go back to a different color. And I kind of liked it. I really did. But as you could see, the first melting, it was super thin. I mean, the tube went right through the wax, and the impression was no good. So I remelted it and poured just a little bit, but this time I let it cool off first before pouring a little bit. So I have these specific, I tried to use a Nuvo alcohol marker on my wax seals. I don't even think it's an alcohol marker. I'll have to go double check to see what it is. It works, but it doesn't work as well as a specific marker made for waxing. The one made for waxing specifically actually does a really good coverage. It doesn't beat up on the wax. It's great. So for my seahorse, I went ahead and used the leftover yellow that was left over from my teeny tiny little wax stamp and mixed it in with the green for my seahorse. And then I'm going to just do the fins of my seahorse, but later on I decide that I want the whole seahorse colored. For the shell, I forgot that it was oval, so I went ahead and I poured out a circle, but I decided that I didn't want it to look like a wax seal either. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. In the end, I wished I would have left it. I really do, because I don't like it at all. This is my least favorite. And no, it's not because it's pink. It's just my least favorite pour out of all of them. For my octopi, I used the orange within the pink. Within another little color, I added a little bit of a bronze to darken the orange. I didn't want a bright in-your-face orange. So I did a little mixing of the colors there to get the orange that I wanted. Well, then the octopi did not show up very well, and so I'll end up coloring him in. And this is the Nuvo marker that I was talking about. I don't know if it is a alcohol marker or not. It just says it's a duo marker, which means it's got two tips on either end. One is a fine tip like you're seeing here, and the other one's a bullet tip. So I went ahead and I colored him in, and then I colored his eyes in a different color, but I didn't want this super shiny silver. So I used the silver in the Nuvo, which is kind of like a charcoal when you color it on wax. Okay, so for my little chip pieces that I have, I'm going to pull out a pearl, and I'm going to use the spoons that have the leftover yellow inside them because I haven't cleaned out my spoons just yet. So I wanted a little bit of color, but not a whole lot of color to take away from my chip. And so I'm using my wood one first. The other chipboard piece that I had from Dusty Attic, my spray went a little psycho and completely ruined that piece. And so I thought, oh, well, 2 is perfect. And so I went ahead and mixed up the leftover pink from my shell just to add that pink back into my collections. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. At first, I thought I was going to leave these netting pieces in their natural state because that's usually what color you see them. Some of them are sun faded and they're a little lighter than this, but that is their natural state, and I was going to leave them like this at first. So I'm going to build them up exactly as you see them, going through all of my bits and pieces, knowing exactly what I kind of want to put here and there. Always trying to cover up those pineapples. I don't play well with pineapples. So I'm going to do that. And then because the one with the pineapple already had a butterfly in it, I thought I would find more butterflies. And then I realized that I was struggling trying to come up with a color combination because I'm using one of my wax seals that's already pink. So pulling in a pink butterfly was not working for me. So I did find this orange butterfly, and I thought that was great. But then I thought, oh, now I need a floral because the other one has a floral. But again, I'm struggling with the color combinations because of the fact that I don't have any blue flowers, but all of my butterflies seem to blend with the flower choices. In the end, I decided, no, that one does not need a butterfly, I don't think. And then I was trying to get a green butterfly to go on this one here with pink, with the pink flowers and whatnot. The flowers were just too overpowering. I felt like they were just too much, so I'm trying to cover them up and put them in the background. So I'm going to use this giant palm tree and chop it up and use it in a couple places. So for my Coco K, I brought in another wood piece because this is actually for a Coco K layout. And so I thought that I would go ahead and personalize one of these pieces instead of making it generic. And I already know the title that I want to go with this. Actually, I was supposed to do a layout today, and I was so inspired by Helen's inspiration photo that I chose that I just decided, nope, I'm going to do embellishments today. I really feel like I just want to play with my stuff. It was a decision that I made, so I apologize if you guys were looking forward to a layout. I still feel like this is a scrapping on a ship because you will see me use these in a day or two directly on a page. So they aren't going to just get made and then placed in a pot or a tray. So this little doodle marker I received at one of the pinners conferences that I went with. I don't know much about it, but I will try to find a link to it. It is just called a doodle marker. That's its name. And I went ahead and put it in. Now, I didn't know if I started it or not, so I went and I pressed it on my glass mat, and it made that big white spot. I should have tested it first. I should have started coloring on my net first. But when you're starting out a white marker and the nib is white, you just can't tell if you started it or not. And I feel like I wasted a lot of ink up there, so I keep trying to pull it up with my nib and bring it back to me so I can at least get some of it used up. So, and I feel like I did a good job. That's what I keep doing. I keep going back. I don't keep restarting it or refilling it because it has plenty of color. But what I'm trying to do is pick up color from that pile that I made and not waste any of my ink. I definitely could have taken my chipboard piece and flipped it over and tried to suck it up that way, but I felt like it was just like a paint pen and, picking up paint. I also like the fact that it soaks into my chipboard and it is not stark white. I love that it is not stark white. So now it looks like a sun faded or sun bleached netting. It was brown, but now it's been out in the sun for, a million years. So now it's got that nice white-ish color or bleached color. So I really am liking that. But now my chipboard my Coco K piece blends in too much. I thought, oh, now I can't see it. So I'm going to try to add a little bit of black to it. So I tried to do my sponge dauber. There wasn't enough black on there, and I'm too lazy to go get my ink and my ink pad, and my spray bottle was closer. So I brought in my spray bottle, and because I used the wax seal silver on this, it is resisting my ink. So I have to use my finger and get it into the grooves of the wood grain in order for it to stick. And I actually kind of like the mottled look. I really do. Of course, I have a black finger for the next 6 days, but it is what it is, right? It's the crafter effects, right? But I am loving how it looks. Now, I want to apologize right off the bat that I did not get to actually taking pictures. I was so excited with how these looked and getting them on a layout that is exactly what I instantly did. I used these immediately on my next project, you guys. I was so happy with how they turned out and what how many different pieces. Like I've got a wax seal made out of wood, I've got a wax seal made out of chipboard, and then I've got 2 layered wax seals on top of each other, and I love them. I really do. And so I didn't even bother to take pictures, close-up pictures for you guys. It's just what it is. So for my delicate pieces of wood, I do not use, what's the word called? Masking tape, or not masking tape, the duct tape. I usually take all of not my adhesive off the back, but the masking on the front that you guys saw me take off earlier. I do end up taking those off by hand rather than using duct tape, just because they are a little delicate and I don't want them to break. But if they do break, I just put them right next to each other on the on my page or project, and move on, because nobody's going to know, right? That's just how it is. Okay, so I did slow the screen down a bit so I could share with you guys the net ones, and I'm moving on to the more tropical oceany ones. I do not use these right away. At first I was like, I just okay, they're okay. I'm so I'm just ho-humming it around, and I'm not sure exactly. I wanted to add more shells. I was going to add more starfish, but I have this cluster. It's a pre-printed cluster from one of the 49 and Market. I think it's the laser bits from, I'm trying to think, from the Sunburst collection. I apologize. So yes, I do end up using one of those because it's already got the flower, it's already got the starfish, it's already got a part of what I was trying to accomplish. But that yellow flower poking out, is that a dandelion? No, it's not. It's what is that? Daffodil. It just doesn't feel like it belongs. It doesn't. So once I cut it off, I'm much more happier. I still want to incorporate another shell of some sort, but I just can't get it to work for my octopi. I really can't. I like saying the word octopi. Have you guys noticed it? I just really like it. It's a cute word. Plus, he's cute. Isn't he cute? He's cute. So anyways, I do like adding the additional flour and then having my bubbles behind and, integrated into the images. So I've got color behind the bubbles, color in front of the bubbles, and then of course the main feature being my wax seal. So I've got that, and then I'm going to build up my next one, which I think is going to be the seahorse. I'm saving the shell for last because, it just wasn't my favorite. I almost debated not doing it because I thought, 2 will be fine. I don't know. And I went with these flowers. I really like the color of these flowers. They're a reddy pink. They are. I'm not even going to try to make fun of it, but it is a red pink that I really liked. So I'm going to use that doodle pin. It's called a Lottie Doodle is what it's called. Now that I've flipped it over so I can see it. And I'm going to color in my seahorse and have him become white. It did resist. It did pool up and bubble. So it definitely wasn't made for wax seals. But in the end, I like how it looks, and it stayed where I wanted it to, and it didn't wipe off. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I like my two-toned seahorse. So here I found another shell, and I really like how it tucks in the back there, and I like this one too. I took one of the giant palm trees, again from the laser cut collection, and trimmed it up so I could use it 3 different times. I'm going to trim off that daffodil again because I just don't feel like it belongs. I did leave a little bit of greenery on my starfish, but I don't think you're going to see it by the time that I'm done. I'm going to trim up my shell just a little bit. I thought that I could get away with scuffing up the edges, but it just wasn't working. And I wanted to add another shell because I'm doing a wax seal about a shell. So I want the shell to be laying on its side, just because I feel like that's how you would find a shell. And I want to tuck it in a little bit because like I said, it's not my favorite. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what I can do with it. I don't know if it's the background. Should I have not colored the shell in and I should have colored the background? And had a pink shell. I just don't know. The seal itself turned out perfect, minus the fact that I didn't pour it in an oval. It's okay. But I just don't feel like I feel like it's missing something or it's got too much of something. I don't know, you guys. But in the end, I do like what I come up with, and I like it. So, but it definitely needed more bubbles. I thought I was only going to do 2 bubbles and then make a cluster without bubbles. But no, this definitely needed bubbles. So I'm going to go ahead and get those going. And I decide to do the tip of my wax seal. I'm not a professional, so it's not perfect, but I like that a lot more. It did fix a little bit of my issue. Having that frame go around. Now, the original stamp does actually have a frame, but because I got a little heavy-handed and my pen is very super juicy, it colored out of the lines. I didn't color out of the lines. My pen did. And so I didn't like it, and I cut so close to the shell trying to get rid of my oopsie that maybe that's what it was missing, was that frame that already came with the wax seal. All right, so I'm going to pause it again really quickly for you guys to take a look and see what I did here. Clean up my surface, and again, briefly, I'm going to pull them in, and that is the last look you will see of my cool little embellishments. Helen, I cannot thank you enough for such an inspiration. This was so much fun. I enjoyed playing with my wax seals. All right, you guys, couple links down below. I have a link for May I Scraplift You's playlist, as well as Helen's channel, as well as Janet's channel, because she is scrapping on a ship with me all month long. And thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciate it and hope you have a great day. Bye.